How to draw your support and resistance zone on the chart. Support and resistance zones are areas on the chart where price changed direction. So if the price was moving up, then suddenly changes direction down, that particular zone or that price point where the market changes direction is called a resistance. Now, if the market was going down and now changed direction to the upside, the point where it changes that direction, that's the price zone around the area where it changes that direction, is called a support. Now, we'll be looking at how to easily identify those support and resistance zone in your on the chart. We have various types of support and resistance. We have support and resistance that occur on a straight line. We have those that occur diagonally. Those are called dynamic support and resistance zone. And when you connect them, they form what we call either a trend line or a channel. So we'll be looking at all of that in the next video.
So in this video, we'll be looking at how to actually draw the support and resistance zones we talked about on the board, on the software itself. So this is MT4. Some of you might not have the rectangle here. If you watched the first video on how to use MT4, you'll see how you could add this. Or it's very simple. You just right click, customize. If you don't have it here before, you select and remove insert, just like I insert this ellipse tool. If you want to remove any of the tools from here, like this one, I don't use it, I remove it, then you just close. It will be there. See how I added this ellipse tool? Correct. So now, to identify your support and resistance zone, the first thing you need to do is to mark out points on your chart where the market changed direction. So this is one point here. So we'll mark out points on the chart where the market changed direction. This is another point here. This is another point here. All right. So you just go through the chart and mark out points in the market or zones in the market where price changed direction. So as you can see, price was here, moved up to this point, then changed rapidly down. Now change from here up here. You can also mark here, but I'm trying to mark the major ones. So this point too is a minor support or resistance point, as the case may be. All right, so you can draw here too. But like I said, it's the major ones I want to mark out. So would mark this one too. This is another point where the market changed direction here. So here. All right, here's another one. Right, market came down and went back up to this point, went back to this point here. All right, you can use the rectangle. I feel it's even easier because you don't need to double click again. So this is another point here. But let's just continue with this since we've used this. All right, so this is another zone here. Here's another point where the market changed direction, as you can see. All right, so with this, let's look at, I think we can look at this. Now with this, you can clearly see that the market came from here, came up here, down here, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down to this point. So it would actually draw here to be another point where the market changed direction. So down here, then here was much of a range, not really. So let's just remove this. Then down here, up to this level, then down again. All right. So these are our major support and resistance points, depending on where the market is relative to price. So right now the market is here. So that means we have only one support. All of these other ones are resistance because right now they are above the market. Now, to help us easily see the zones. We can connect all of the zones together. So we'll use this part here, the rectangle tool, and draw to the future like this. If you can see, you will discover that these points we initially drew, they are all kind of related. So I'm going to delete them. I'll delete them. I'll delete this. And I'll delete this. So now you can see we have a zone. Even though they are not all perfectly aligned together, you can see that they are around that zone. Whenever price enters this area, this zone here, up to this point, whenever price entered anywhere inside these zones here, it changes direction down. So we have here came down, came close to the place, just touched it a little bit, then came down. Here it entered a little bit, then down. Here too, twice it wanted passing this zone, but it could not, and it kept coming down. All right, so this is how you identify your resistance. That is, the price is resisting to break above. All right, so now let's look at drawing other zones again. So we'll pick the rectangle tool and draw out this zone to the future. The reason why we're drawing it to the future is because price usually reacts in this kind of places. We'll see an example just shortly. So we can draw this one out to the future. All right, so you can already see what happened when price broke above it. When price came to this resistance, it was a support then. That was when price was above around this area. It was a support. So when it broke the support, it make the support become a resistance. So this is a resistance now. All right. So we can also connect these zones here. You can see they are almost aligning a bit. All right. So that all those points we put initially just to make us see. You really don't need to put it. If you can visually see it, you just draw it with your rectangle, and that's how I do. I don't mark out the point first before I start drawing out. But as a beginner, you might want to do it just to make you see it clearly. All right. So these are major zones. I think we left out one here. This is another minor resistance because price tried to break both here separately and did not. So you can see now it's easy to see the market, to know where the resistance are and where the market is potentially going to turn. All right, so these are horizontal support and resistance zone. Now let's look at dynamic. The dynamic ones are could be identified using the trend lines. All right, so to draw your dynamic support or resistance lines, you connect the lows in the uptrend. You connect the lows together, just like this. We have a low here, we have another one here, we have another one here, we have another one. But as you can see, you could actually connect these two and it's still okay. But I usually like connecting the major ones. So these are the major ones here. This one here, this one here, and this one here. I think here too. And finally it got broken out of. So this is your support, dynamic support, because price could not actually go through it for a while until at this point where it broke out of it. Then the next thing we need to do is let's draw our dynamic resistance now. So this is resistance. Remember, resistance is just relative to where the current price is. So this line is above the current price. So that's why we're calling it a dynamic resistance. If it was below, call it a dynamic support. So in this particular trend, we look at where the market change direction majorly here and here. Remember, this is a lower high, this is a high, this is a lower high. So you connect the two to draw your dynamic resistance. If you want to draw a dynamic support on this downtrend, it's going to connect this low and this low here. We have a low here, we have a low here, and this will give you like a target to where you should be expecting the market to kind of want to turn. Because even though it's in a downtrend, you can see that whenever it touches the support, it goes and touches resistance. It touches a support, it touches resistance, it touches a support here, and now it's almost touching the resistance, it went down. So we're expecting it to come down to touch this support, then possibly bounce back here and continue on the downtrend until it breaks out. All right, so this is how you draw your dynamic support and resistance zone.